What's up, guys? It's Matt Johnson here. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is one of the final ones of the year. We are coming down to the wire. We are right before Christmas. Today is December 23rd or the 17th or the 29th or something like that. I'm not really sure. I know it's 2 days before Christmas, and we're both very excited. So this is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We're doing something a little bit different today. We're talking about, we're taking questions, Greg, all about client control and protecting your lead generation time because those two things are very intimately connected. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. And so we're going to be taking some questions. If you guys see us here live on Facebook, make sure to put your questions below in the comments. I will bring them to Greg, and Greg will valiantly flounder while he attempts to answer them, and then I will step in and provide the right answer. Right, Greg?
You raging dick. God. Greg will valiantly flounder while I step in and save the day on my white horse in shiny armor. Nothing.
I'm wearing a very appropriate shirt for that statement.
All right, so I'm the black hat, literally black hat. Oh, get it?
Mm-hmm.
But no, guys, we're gonna have a lot of fun. If you guys didn't see it already, go over to my Facebook page, where you're probably on right now, and go watch the video I posted about my mom's 65th birthday last night. We had a lot of fun, and I'm gonna post a video later up there of my mom and my dad singing "Hey, I Got You, Babe" by Sonny and Cher. In their full getup, looking like Sonny and Cher. So it was a lot of fun with my parents last night. So, Mom, if you see this, happy birthday. I love you. You're the most amazing mother I could ever ask for. And I just want to see another 65 years out of you. So now that holiday cheer, let's get on to something that's actually going to benefit people, dude. Oh, and Juan and Amy, what's going on, guys? Glad you guys are here. Howard, thanks for showing up as well, guys. Appreciate it. Remember, ask questions. We answer them.
That's right. And as for the show, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, or Stitcher, depending on whether you want the video or audio versions, especially if you want the audio nestled between your ears where we so belong.
So, Dave, yes, Matt, yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So first of all, let's talk about, just go high level. So Darren Urich from the Lead Gen Scription Objections Group asks, how many closed home sales or sides will you end up with this year? So Greg, what's your goal for 2017?
Good question, Matt. I want to do more than I did this year. Got a little off track personally, just because everything that you and I are doing. But I personally want to do myself, not my team. I want to do 30 deals myself. And I think with Phil and talent prospecting and everything they're going to be doing with me by setting 10 appointments a week for me. By the way, if you guys are, I always say that if you guys are interested in that, give me PM me. I'll get you Philip's information, and you guys can rock and roll on that. But awesome stuff. So with him setting 10 appointments a week, I really, truly, honestly, without a doubt, believe I can get there. I just didn't get anywhere close to that this year. Our team did a little bit better this year, but we were a little bit scatterbrained. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I am going to be putting.
Let's talk about the ISA thing for a little bit, because I just talked to Mark Martin. If anybody caught that Facebook Live on Wednesday, me and Greg Harrelson and Mark Martin did a live broadcast, and Mark was sharing his experience with using an ISA and how he's going back into his business, and he had pulled back from making the phone calls, and now he's going back in to where he's making the initial contact and then handing off, because they're the best at lead conversion, right? Mm-hmm. So here's where I think your approach comes in and makes maybe you, Greg, a better fit for working with an ISA and having someone do your calls for you, because the quality of the appointments, your standard, I think, is probably different than what Mark is looking for. And it's something important that I think needs to be addressed, which is you split up your listing process into 2 sessions. Mm-hmm. Right. So I want you to share that, and then I'll explain why I think that's a better fit for what you're doing with Phil than maybe what some other people have experienced when we're having someone do the calls for them.
Sure. Yeah. So what I got, you cannot physically give an accurate number on a property by giving them a value before you go to the house. It's physically impossible. And I've seen it time and time again. You can argue with me. Go ahead, roll your eyes. I don't give a shit. But that's the fact of the matter. Because if you can't, value something that you've never put your eyes on, there's been countless times that I've walked into properties that looked beautiful on the outside. Get inside it is a fucking train wreck. I mean, it is like Hoarderville, and they're the mayors. But they kept the outside looking really, really good. So we go in, and I bring here, I'll show you. I bring one of my books. It's really thick and pretty and colorful, and got my picture right inside. Best part right there. And then I don't have it. I'll just pretend. number 10, my goal book here is a RPR, real estate property report, that's provided to everyone in the U.S. for free at no cost. And I bring those two, I laminate them, and I let them know, hey, look, this is just a brainless, computer report, and here's some of the team. And I start talking about how we're going to work together as a team, how we're going to bring it to market, what the next steps are. I start acting as if everything was already going to happen. Therefore, I start implanting in their mind kind of how the whole process is going to work with us. Then I sit there and I ask any questions like, who should I contact? How should I contact? When should I contact? When can I get back in touch with you guys? How can we make this work? What are your expectations? How do you want to communicate? I really start setting that up. And then I set up and go back to my office. I run the numbers through Touch CMA. And then I get a hold of them. I email them the report. I print out a report, and then I bring the report back over to them. Oh, God, what are you saying?
Go ahead. I'll let you know after. Anyway, so go back to the. All right. Well, thanks for the opening. But so Shane DeGray or Gary says
Shane
Greg
Train
rocks with a bunch of icons, and then hi Matt.
Shane Train, what up, player? Hey man, I'm watching all your stuff you're doing out there against the millionaires, against bullying. Keep up the good work, man. You're fighting the good fight, my friend. Thanks for watching today. I appreciate it. And hi Matt.
That's right. Oh my God, that was funny. So anyway, you get back to the office, run your comps, and because one of the other questions was how are you putting that together using Touch CMA? So I think you answered that. You're looking at the comps, you're putting that report together through Touch CMA. So then what happens?
Well, then I take the listing, Matt. I mean, that's how this goes.
Magically, by magic.
What do you mean? How do I? What happens next?
Well, so you've had that initial appointment with them. That's the point of this, is that you break your listing process up into two stages.
Right. What I said is I go back to the office and I run my numbers on Touch CMA. I email them a copy. I print out a copy, and then I take it out to them. We sit down. We talk about processes, logistics, time frames, expectations. I set everything up then and there on the second appointment. And I always go out with a confidence, with the confidence that I already have the listing. I act as if. I don't act as if like, well, maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. No. I go out there and I just act as if I have it. And I honestly, unless I really screw up, and I have done it, don't get me wrong, guys, I've definitely screwed up before. I mean, I screwed up. I told you about this before, Matt. I went on a listing appointment, and I learned from this. A very big learning curve, and I didn't think about it. I didn't put it together, but it's very interesting to think about the psychological effects on the homeowners. So I go out and I'm doing my thing. Us, we, team. This is what we're gonna do. Eileen's your contact. Blah blah blah. Now I contacted them and followed up, and they kind of went into the dark on me a little bit. And I'm like, gosh dang it, where'd they go? And I finally got a hold of this chick, and I was just like, hey, blah blah blah. Hey, it's Greg. Sorry I missed you. I've been trying to get a hold of you. I just want to see about our next steps when we want to start getting the property on the market. She's like, oh, we decided to go with someone else. And I said, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Gosh, can I ask just why? What did I do something to offend you? Did I do something not right? Did I not come up with the proper comps? Or what happened? She said, Greg, when you always talked about your team, we thought you were just going to hand us off, and that we wouldn't be able to be working with you. We'd always be working with one of your team members. I'm like, no. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. No, I meant that we have a team supporting you. I will always be your lead contact. I will always be the one that is negotiating for you. You will always be able to get a hold of me. I would never have passed you off. And they're like, oh. You can hear just like the air come out of their balloon. And I sat there and I got a little fucking pissed, right? And I was like, gosh damn it, those stupid people, they didn't even call me, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm like, well, wait a minute, Greg. You can't blame them for something you did. You didn't communicate, properly. So in the future, I tell them I'm your lead contact. I will always be available for you. My team will support us throughout this transaction. So nothing's gonna get lost in the cracks. But you always have contact with me. That has always been really, really helpful. People want to make sure they're not being they're not a second tier human being. They're not being pushed off to the B league.
Yeah, of course.
Which some teams do.
Nobody wants to be tossed off to the the team B at Wendy's, so to speak. As I actually refer to them. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You pull up, get a nice hamburger and fries, cheeseburger and fries, and you find out like the fries are limp and cold, and the cheeseburger is sitting under the heat lamp for 2 hours because you got the B team. Anyway, so the whole point of why I wanted you to go into that, and by the way, thanks guys for watching live. Neely, love you. Thanks so much for watching. I know you don't get a chance to watch as much because you're freaking busy doing deals.
Oh my God, Neely, you pimp! I just bragged about you the other day. I miss you. Besides, Uncle Greg has to have a talk with Neely. Okay, I miss my brother.
All right. So, and then Michelle and Juan and Manny and Monique and Shane and everybody that's watching live, we really appreciate you guys. So, and put the questions that you have about controlling clients in the comments, because we want to address every single one of them. But here's the point of why I had Greg go into that, because he's having somebody set appointments for him, and people's biggest complaint when they work with an ISA is the quality of the appointment, right, Greg? They get there and they're just not ready to make a move.
Yeah.
Well,
we're just kind of kicking it around.
Yeah, exactly. If you go in with the expectation that if I don't walk out with a signed agreement that I have failed, you are setting yourself up to probably fail with using an ISA.
Yeah,
right. If you go in with the expectation that, hey, this is someone that has expressed interest in selling their home, this is you would say it's a marketing qualified lead. Somebody they have raised their hand to somebody that put a message in front of them of selling their house, and they said, yes, I raised my hand, I'm interested. That is a good thing. Just because they might not be enough down the process where they're ready to list with you that day that you go on the appointment doesn't necessarily make that a bad thing. It's a bad thing if you don't have follow-up systems, and if you go in with the expectation that if I don't walk out with the paperwork, well, screw them, I'm never talking to them again. So I like that process, Greg, where you go in, you say, look, we can't really get an accurate gauge on the price of the home until we meet anyway, so I'd love to just stop by, let's have a quick conversation, you can show me the house, all the wonderful upgrades and improvements that you've made, then I can really go back and do some research and show you the right comparable homes, and then we can get a really good accurate gauge on the price, and we can decide whether we want to work together from there. And then the whole time you're like couching it in terms of team, and we're going to work together and how we're going to communicate, and you're like setting all the expectations for what the client experience is going to be like on that first meeting. Then you get to the price. So by the time you give them the comps, because one of the questions was, how do you, not screw yourself over essentially if you're emailing them the CMA? Well, Greg, in that first meeting, you're going to get a pretty good idea of what their expectations are.
Yeah, and I always go, I go into it looking at the comps prior to, and here's a little tip, guys. I go check Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor.com.
Every source they're looking at?
I check all the sources they're looking at, and I'm like, if you were to guess, I mean, my gut is telling us that we're somewhere between, I picked the lowest and the highest numbers, and we're between this and this. Where do you guys think? Oh my God, that's exactly what we were thinking. Oh, I knew I was gonna like you guys. We're meant to work together, suckers.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I really do that because they already have those numbers in their mind. You had better have some sort of an idea of what they're looking at, what their expectations are, because if they have super out of the league expectations because Zillow's giving them an unrealistic number, oh my God, there's a freaking dumpster, trash truck convention going on outside. Good Lord. God, they all got to meet up and see who can make the most money.
I was gonna say that's an interesting place for them to have their annual conference, is the parking lot of your retirement condo complex. But they have like a trade show floor you can walk down there with all the latest garbage innovations. All right.
If only
Jay Pearson says if the ISA gets good training, they will get better and better at conversion, or at least they should. And Jay, you're exactly right. So if you hire, especially if you hire a true ISA where the I means inside, as in they're inside your office, then yes, you should be coaching them. And theoretically, you treat them like a real salesperson, and they get better at conversion, and they get better understanding what is and what isn't a solid appointment. And they're not just setting an appointment to get it off their plate and hit a certain number. They're setting an appointment for you that they believe you can actually take the listing. So that's true. But if you have that process where you're not expecting to take the listing on the first time out, it's okay to get those listings or those appointments that are not quite as solid, because you just want to get out there and you want FaceTime with the seller, and then you want to follow up.
Yeah, I mean, I totally lost my train of thought. I don't know where you're going with that, but here
Tell me about the follow-up process, Greg.
So Philip actually doesn't. Hold on. Philip actually doesn't get leads from me. There's a big difference. A lot of the times, ISAs or lead gen systems will just get a response. Someone who's responding to an ad that's put out there into the universe. Philip over at Talon, dude, he sets an appointment on a day, on a time. He has access to my calendar. He sets the appointments. He does a follow-up. He makes sure that appointment is good the day before, and then he'll do a follow-up afterwards. But he and I do a weekly call on 9:00 on Monday mornings. We go over the prior week. We go over the leads. We go over the conversions. We talk about what worked, what didn't work, what I liked, what I don't like, and then he and his team will go and perfect that and tweak that so that they can deliver the highest quality of lead that I can ever possibly want for my marketplace. Now that's going to vary for different marketplace. Most people are just going to want listings. But what if you don't like listings? What if you want buyers? Maybe you need buyers for your listings, right? I mean, it's just you can tweak an ISA to anything that you want done. I mean, so figure out what you want done is the number one most important thing. So that's what I want to make the difference of, is like leads versus appointments. Hugely different, appointment. So,
yeah, it's a good point. I like it. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the how you're setting your clients up for the expectations, so that you are not sacrificing your prospecting and lead generation time to work with ongoing clients and constantly getting interrupted, and they're going through that feast and famine cycle where you work with you spend all your time with clients and none of your time prospecting, and all of a sudden you get done with those deals and you realize, crap, I don't have any clients.
Shit, no money. Well,
so Greg,
every time you close
tell
a
me
deal,
first of all, like before you had this whole team,
every time you close a deal, you're out of work the next day, right? So
not if you're doing it right. God.
Yeah, no, you are. You're out of work. That client, you're done with that client. That job is done. You have no more work with that client. Done. Kaboot. Dead. But
sure.
the way that I protect my time is
you're not coming off of shooting Ghost Protocol 3 or something like that, and you have no other movies lined up. You should have some other stuff in the pipeline.
So what do? Is you protect your prospecting time like you protect a listing appointment. You would not give up on a listing appointment if something else came up, because that's your money. That's what you've worked for, right? So it happens the exact same way with your prospecting. I have it in my calendar certain times that I prospect without a doubt. Now, majority of the time, I do it at 4 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, give or take, and I do it live with you guys on my page here, which I've taken a break since I've been on my deathbed. But I do it then, and I get really good results, and I don't move it. Okay, I protect that with nobody's business. I mean, Matt and I've got all the other things that we're building and we're making and everything else. And, we all check our calendars. And I'm like, no, I can't do it, guys. I got my live lead gen then, because my team needs what I'm doing. Even though that Philip's going to be doing calls for us, even though that Eileen's going to be doing calls and Midori's going to be doing calls, I still need to protect it, because I still need to, proceed forward in my own business. So you guys need to protect it in the same way. So if there's a time that works best for you in the day, the week, whatever it is, figure it out now and then stick to it like it's your business, because it is your business. Just a heads up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something that's and I didn't really figure this out until I started working with just a lot of higher level people, and then I just got progressively busier and busier. But it doesn't matter who they are; everyone can reschedule.
Yes, everybody. Everybody can reschedule. Tim, where are my leads coming from? I had bold leads for a while. I had prime seller leads that delivered us leads, and then we had like postcards and all kinds of other stuff. And when Phil called me up, he's like, "Hey, Greg, I want you to give me your ugliest, nastiest, oldest, most disgusting lead that you have." I'm like, "Say what?" He's like, "Yeah, man, that's what we do." I'm like, "Motherfucker is crazy." And I get over there. Dude, he sets like 20 appointments the first week off the oldest, nastiest stuff. So they come from everywhere, to be honest with you. Circle prospecting, where leads can come from, and anything that's been in your database, your pipeline, your past lead gen systems you think are dead, maybe all the old Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, whatever the old lead sources are, that's where they generally come from. So, and every lead is gonna vary. But good question, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of leads, I mean, guys, check out rockstarprospecting.com. That's me and Greg's new live training course where Greg really breaks down how to combine like the high tech stuff with the old school prospecting to make the conversations easier. So when you're on the phone and in person with a lead, the conversation is easier. You know exactly what to say. And they are prepped and ready because of the online marketing that you're doing, so that they already perceive you as the expert. They already look at you as somebody that knows what they're doing and they would like to work with. Then it's just a matter of identifying the people that have the needs out of the people that already know who you are and respect you. So that's the idea behind Rockstar Prospecting. So check that out. That class starts January 9th. That is a 4-week run of 1-hour live training sessions where you're actually on with us on video, and you can interact and ask questions and role play with us and all that good stuff. So check that out. That's rockstarprospecting.com.
Yeah, we actually do a minimum of 10 people per class and a maximum of 40, just so we can keep the intimacy there. But yet we want to be able to, the reason why we do 10 and 40 is because we want to we want you guys to interact with each other. I'm in negotiations with another company that is actually going to give you free access, and it's not going to be the ISA I told you about. It's going to be another company called 11th something or other. They contacted me the other day, and they've agreed to give you free access to their video product, so you guys can do live role play between each other for that month at no cost to you. So that's
Awesome.
why we want the people there, so that you guys can actually, learn from each other.
Very, very cool. That's awesome, man. Yeah, you hadn't told me about that. Always surprising doing a live podcast with Greg. It's like, oh, by the way, hey, we're gonna do this and we're gonna offer this out to our people. I'm like, all right, well, we'll figure it out.
And jab, 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 right hook on that.
That's right. All right. So Justin asks, what's up, Greg? Did you like prime seller leads? Greg, what was your experience? I mean, obviously, I like Matt Scheid a lot. He's no longer with the company, but I heard nothing but good things from other people that I've worked with around the country about PSL. But it all comes down to the follow-up that goes into it. Greg, is that kind of what your experience was?
100%, man. It's like a dog that's chasing a car. I mean, I'm like, they have such a good back end on that thing that you can get lost. I mean, literally, you can get lost in it. And what?
Sorry, sounded like you were briefly describing Kim Kardashian or something. I don't know why.
Shoot, it's everywhere. I can't get out of it. It swallowed me whole. It's like Kim Kardashian's plane seat. Wow.
Oh my God. All right. So it's got a great back end that you can get lost in, Greg. All right. So keep going. Go ahead. Anyway, the follow-up.
Okay, so shush. No, large back ends. They have so many bells and whistles back there, guys, but they have 3 different platforms back there. You can do like the DIY. Stop making me laugh, Matt. The DIY, the middle grade, and then the concierge level. The concierge, I think, is like $200 a month or something. I haven't checked their prices in a while, but I mean, if you're gonna do it that way, because it's completely off of your books. They will analyze your ads, make sure they're pulling appropriately, look at them every day, tweak the ads, do A/B and testing, all this other stuff, so that you don't have to worry about it. That would be my recommendation. Again, we make no affiliate deals with these people whatsoever. That is how we ran PSL, but it worked so well that I got overwhelmed like very quickly. I mean, very quickly. And so then I just sat there and I finally handed Phil like 2,000 leads. I'm like, dude, here, go. And I put him on the notifications now. So whenever a new lead comes through, he gets the instant notification. So he and his team can reach out and start talking to these people sooner than later. So
yeah, and that seems to be where a lot of the ISA role is going, is to that, just trying to get as close to instant response as possible rather than necessarily proactively reaching out to people cold. It's taking people that have responded online, at least expressed some interest, and then just responding and trying to get them on the line or texting with them as quickly as possible. So we got a lot of questions that I want to get to.
Yeah, let's go.
But Marie Costello said, what is your recommendation for a brand new agent for lead gen? We've got a whole episode on this. I don't want to go too in depth because we did literally 60 minutes on this. But Greg, just give us a few bullet points of where you would start as a brand new agent.
Monday, walk out the front door and turn right. Go hand out 25 business cards to the people that you meet. Tuesday, go out your front door, turn left. Hand out 25 business cards, meet and greet people, wear your name badge. Even if you think you look dorky, I don't give a shit. This is your business. You cannot be a super agent. You need to go and you need to get around and start networking with people. If you have hobbies or activities you like to do, go start to do those. But maybe forget to take off your name badge or something along those lines. Don't be afraid to tell people what you do. Now, do Facebook Lives, do Instagram Lives, do Periscopes into Twitter. Talk about relevant information. Go to realtytimes.com. Go to neighborhoodscout.com. Take the articles from Realty Times. They have 7 different categories, so you can talk about a different category 7 days a week, one article a day. And you can take that article and information and go live in each one of those platforms and regurgitate the information. And you're going to be starting to be known as an expert in that field. Also, go to Neighborhood Scout, go into the neighborhoods, type in your zip code, and then you're going to be able to go into the micro market. So my area is 94596.
There's a lot of digits for a zip code, man. It's like a 19-digit zip code.
And go in there and be able to stand in the area, because they're going to talk about real estate. They're going to talk about unique and notable people and unique and notable places. They're going to talk about ethnicity, ancestry, modes of transportation, different businesses. I mean, it gets super micro. So you go stand in those marketplaces and bring the value. Not only is it going to make you be viewed as an expert in the marketplaces in the digital realm, but when you go do open houses, you're going to be super knowledgeable about the hyper local market that you're literally standing in right there. The other agents are not going to have this information. You can put together flyers from the information on Neighborhood Scout and hand out flyers to people like, oh, you're new to the area? Here's a handout about what's going on. Here's some super good information about the market area here. I mean, that's what you can do for a new agent. Don't get caught up in all the bullshit of like Zillow leads or anything else. Look, they're trying to scam you, and the only reason you hear about it is because they got the loudest microphone. All right. You are your biggest lead generation. You don't need anyone else to do lead generation. It's all you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would only do 3 things, which is the social media about what's going on in real estate, like you mentioned, Facebook Live predominantly, calling and getting together with my personal sphere of influence, and open houses. If you do just those 3 things, you'll be well on your way. And if you happen to have the personality that can handle expireds, maybe go take like, expired mastery with Aaron and me and like go attack expires. But that you really have to have the right personality to do that. For 70% of agents out there, it's demonstrate your expertise, go after your database, and work open houses. So Stephen Milo, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, says, I know you said you don't door knock anymore, but did you find that you got more leads from door knocking or cold calling? That is a great question. So Greg, I know you normally do calling now, but is that just, what's the reason behind that?
Just time, man. I don't have enough time to go out there. Drive out to the property, walk the neighborhood, drive back to the office. That's a lot of time in there. In that time, if I talk to 25 to 30 people, that's a lot of people in one day for door knocking. But if I can talk to 25 to 50 people or more doing calls and not have to go, with the commute time, that's where you really lose it. But there's 2 differences here, okay? If you're a new agent breaking into an area or just getting into the business, door knocking is essential. And the reason why is this. One, when you're out in the doors, you're getting to know the neighborhoods and the neighborhood owners, right? But it's both the houses and the people. And that's really the most important part. My brother and I were in Paris a number of years ago, and we were going to go get dinner somewhere. And I'm like, all right, let's get a cab, man. He's like, no, we're going to walk. You get to know a neighborhoods better by walking. I'm like, God, he's smart for being 2 years younger, because it's true. If you can walk in neighborhoods, your brother died
along the journey. It's very unfortunate.
He did, and I hailed a cab.
Woo! It's 50 miles to the restaurant. He collapsed at like mile marker 26. But that's all right. He'll be fine. The family will be all right.
That's because we were taking a shot at every bar we came across, and in Paris there's like a couple bars per street.
Give himself alcohol poisoning. All right.
But so then the calls are for efficiency. But when you walk the neighborhoods, you're going to be able to see what who's remodeling, who's re-landscaping. You have good conversations with people. I met a lady. She's now in lending, but I talked to her a couple of times, and I saw her at an open house. I'm like, oh, I know you. You live on Via Don Jose. You have the house with the 2 huge redwood trees. You just had a second child, and your husband drives a motorcycle. She's like, what the fuck are you? She slowly backed away. I'm like, no, I'm not a stalker. I just door knock. She's like, oh, that's where I recognize you from. But you really get to know the people, and you get to be brought in, and it's fun. You get to lose some pounds and get a suntan. Come on, give me a break. There's nothing wrong with
that. All right. So Paul, so let's address this one real quick. So Austin Keppel, who just joined us, says, what was your process when door knocking? What was your pitch? Greg, we cover that in Rockstar Prospecting, so I don't know how deep you want to get into it. There's also another question from Paul Coleman Jr. about do you do cold calls around sales, or are you still calling FSBOs and expireds? Let's do that one first, and then maybe we'll get into a little bit of the door knocking stuff. So first of all, what are you calling around when you are calling?
So what I do, guys, I go into the MLS every day when I'm going to do calls. On top majority, I do this as well. You go pick an area, and you want to find an area that you're not overlapping and calling too much, because people get really ticked off if you call them too much. I found this out the hard way. But what I did is I just went out there and I went and found all the listings, all the solds, and I pull up the solds for the area. Then I find the biggest difference between listing price, sales price, the highest difference in the shortest amount of time. And then I make calls around that property. And I try to find the most expensive property as well, because if you're going to be doing calls, might as well call around the really expensive ones, right? So that's how I pick my numbers and my properties to call every day. And they don't have to be mine. I just say a home just sold. And if they ask if I sold it, I say, no, gosh, dang it. I really wish I did. Shucks. Golly gee willikers. I don't know why I went all like 50s on you on that. But that's the way that I go through picking out, the properties that I call around. And I call around and I do a pretty good, wide berth around each one. I don't just do like little tiny ones, because it's all a numbers game, even though Aaron hates to hear that, but it's the fucking truth. The more people I can call and touch in a day, and I go for a nose. So I don't go for leads in a day. I go for how many no's I can get in a day. So if I want to do 50 no's every day, that's a lot of prospecting, okay? But the pendulum of success swings equally in far as in the failure rate. So if you fail, down like this much, well, it's going to swing back equally this far. So if you're going to fail a lot, you're going to succeed a lot. If you're going to fail a little, you're going to succeed a little. So keep that in mind. If your feelers get hurt, suck it up, Buttercup. It's part of the business. It's no big deal. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to the product or the service that you're offering. That's it. It's not a personal hit. Unless you pissed them off or you dated their daughter or something like that. Then I can see how they would reject you.
Right. Yeah,
Matt.
That makes sense. No, that's a great perspective. The more you fail, the more you will inevitably succeed. I like it.
Yeah,
That's
go
very,
read
very good advice.
go read Darren Hardy's book called The Compound Effect. He talks about that in depth in the book because he was actually in real estate here in the Bay Area for a number of years, and he went from snot-nosed brat that wasn't doing anything. In the first 6 months, he was the number one in his office. In the first year, he was number one in the county. Wow. Because he would go out and get 50 no's a day. So if you guys want to make 2017 just a rock star year for you, this is all you have to do. Go get told no 50 times every day. And I'm not talking going down to the bar and asking the hot chick, can you buy her a drink? That doesn't count as a no. It has to be a business thing. Matt, no, I don't want you cheating.
You don't want me cheating. Okay. Anyway, all right. So Howard asked, "What's the problem with expireds?" Which I think he's referencing why I said maybe that's not in the top 3 for newbies. So the deal with expireds is the people that, especially if you're going after the new expireds, they're getting a lot of other calls from agents, and unless you get to them with the very first call, and then you're usually surprising them because they don't know their home is off the market, or they know it's coming because their agent has prepped them and they know they're about to get a lot of calls and they're bracing themselves. So when you make those calls, you as an agent usually have to be a high D. You don't necessarily have to be a high I, but you have to have the driving dominant personality enough to break through that initial resistance, ask them a question that gets them to think or open up to you a little bit. And it's tougher for more stable, cautious, perfectionistic personalities, or people that are just really people, high I's, people pleasers, people that just really want to make other people happy. A lot of buyer's agents would struggle trying to get expired listings because the people they're not receptive. They're not nice up front. Now, if you make expired calls in the Midwest where I did, people are a little bit nicer, but they're still cold, right? It's still a very cold call. And so that's what I mean in terms of like, expireds are great in the sense that they are an immediate source of business. And if you know what you're doing and you can take a listing that you can get it priced correctly when the person that had the listing before could not get it priced correctly, it will sell and you will collect a relatively immediate commission, right? So, I mean, you can take a listing and all of a sudden have it on the market the next day, the next week, and maybe it'll sell in 2 weeks and close in 45 days. And all of a sudden you've got a paycheck 2 months from now. It doesn't get much faster than that in real estate, but you do have to have the skills to make the call. You have to have the skills to get the price reduction or the improvements that they need to actually get the home sold. And there's a lot of those skills that new agents have a tough time acquiring quickly enough to make it work. That's why I say that.
I would agree with you on that, Matt. I would absolutely agree with you on that. I mean, circle prospecting or working your sphere of influence for a newer agent is definitely a much softer, easier entry. And as you gain, your stripes in the business, then your confidence is going to go up and you're going to be able to do those calls, to the expireds or, FSBOs or anything else. But
yeah, and Amy Brookhammer says, and set yourself apart with your communications and results. Absolutely. And that's something you can only do as an experienced agent because if you're a new agent, you have no communication protocol and you have no results. So let's talk about the communication protocol a little bit. So Greg, how are you setting your clients up when you first meet with them? What are some of the things that you're telling them that kind of prevent the client issues from coming up that eat away at your lead gen time? Like, because you're prepping them right in that very upfront, that first meeting that I mentioned when you're meeting with them and touring the house, you're already seeding those elements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so are you talking about like how to protect my time for prospect? And,
how are you setting the expectations with how you communicate with clients and what they expect of you?
I ask them right up front, how do you guys want me to communicate with you? Do you want me to email you, text you, call you, carrier pigeon, smoke signals? What would you like? And then who should I talk to? And then how often should I talk to you? And then I say, Eileen is going to do the majority of the communication on the day-to-day stuff. Denise, our TC, is going to be emailing you with paperwork. Anything and everything that they send you, don't worry about it. Go ahead and work with them. Anything that's going to be something that needs to be negotiated or that will affect this deal, I will talk with you before any decision is made, and we will move forward as a team on that decision. Is that fair? And they're like, oh, well, yeah, that'd be great. I'm like, okay, well, great. Then I'm happy to do that. Which Mr. or Mrs. Who should I talk to? And that's it. That's as hard as it is. I just ask them. I don't tell them. I ask them, because who knows? Maybe Mr.'s got a super, super busy job, or Mrs. got a super, super busy job, and the other one is much easier to communicate with. And who knows? Yeah. So easy answer. I just ask. I just ask who I should talk to.
Okay. And then when they want to talk during what you know is your lead gen time, how do you handle that request?
I just text them back. I'm in a meeting. I'll call you as soon as I get out. That's it. I mean, or I'll just say, hey, look, I'm in a meeting. If you need to talk to someone now, feel free and contact Eileen. Here's the number, 838-4300.
Okay.
Get it out.
All right. So how about new prospects? You're on the phone with somebody during your lead prospecting time, and they want to set up an appointment for the next day during your lead gen time. Give me the objection handler.
Hey, Matt, Julie, thank you so much, you little baby bastards. I just want to say thanks. I look forward to meeting with you guys and talking about times. So tomorrow, let me see what my schedule looks like. Okay, I have meetings. I can meet here, or here. What works best for you? Well, I was really hoping you could do 4:30. Let me see here. Oh gosh, I can't. I have a meeting there. It's a standing meeting. But again, I have these other times. What would work best? Well, I can do blah blah blah. Okay, no problem. Let's do that then. I look forward to meeting you. You wouldn't tell a new client that you could meet during a listing appointment that you set. You just wouldn't do it. I mean, end of story. So treat them exactly the same way.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah, it's really just it's that little bit of the killer instinct of just telling somebody no. It's the fear of them rejecting you for you rejecting them, or making it inconvenient on them. And I think that has to do a lot with, and this is what I wanted to get into on the episode, which is that the way that you deal with clients is subconsciously affected by your lead generation, right? So if you don't consistently lead generate to the point where you feel like you have this pipeline of new people coming in, you get roped into doing things and agreeing to things and moving around your schedule and doing all these things for clients that you wouldn't normally do if you didn't have that, if you had that pipeline coming in. So it's really important to protect your lead generation time, because the more you have that pipeline of people coming in, the easier it is subconsciously on you to say no to things like appointments during your lead gen time, appointments after a certain time, showing homes on a Sunday when you're trying to spend time with your family, whatever the case is, whatever boundaries that you set. The clients are like toddlers. They're always going to test those boundaries, whether they think about it or not. They're always going to test the boundaries, and you have to respectfully push back and protect your boundaries. Otherwise, all boundaries are off, and then it's open game. It's open
mayhem.
Season, right? It's mayhem. Yeah. I mean, so we create these problems for ourselves when you're like, well, my clients are texting me at 10 o'clock at night. There's some clients where I'm okay with that, because I like them genuinely as people and I consider them friends as much as they are clients. It's one thing when it's that, but there are some clients when you're like, oh my God, I want to hear from them on Monday between the hours of 3 o'clock and 3:17, during which I will be having my coffee and self-medicating while I have to talk to them. Those are the people you do not want texting you at 10 o'clock at night.
No, but I mean, guys, like I've said it a million times before, people only know what you tell them. So tell them how you run your business. You are a professional. This is your industry. This is your hours of business. End of story. And if they're texting you at 10 o'clock at night, unless you're in the middle of a disaster of a deal, then yeah, talk to them, do what you have to do. But if it's just a routine question, dude, vibrate, night. Forget about it.
That's right. Deal with it in the morning, and that teaches them to not do that.
Yeah, and they'll learn very quickly.
And
they say,
of course, the natural question that comes up is, well, won't I lose that client? And the answer is maybe. Yeah, I see that. Yes, this is not good podcasting, Greg.
Then you shush.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, God damn it! Now you made me lose my freaking train of thought. You can just go.
Oh, imagine that! Right, I do serve a purpose on the podcast.
No.
Anyway, all right. So there's a really good question here from John Herman that I want to get to, and Arne agrees and says, "Set your boundaries up front." I set them in meeting one. Absolutely, very good point, Arne. So John says, "I run into this a lot. I'm meeting with 2 other agents after our listing appointment. I won't make a decision until I meet with all of you agents." You agents. How do you try to close these types of sellers? So first of all, do you try to get them to not meet with other agents? Well, I mean, what's your strategy for taking the listing when they are giving you that objection?
Well, I mean, I encourage them. I say, that's a phenomenal job. I think you should talk to a couple of other agents. What are you looking for in your agent? What would be your top qualities? And then start asking questions, going 3 deep, really kind of going deep on these things, really going and say, affirming you, affirming your team, affirming your company that we do well. Goodness, we're the best in that. Well, we do that as well. You know what? I know we have a team of 7, and the good thing is I work with my father, my business partner. Now I love them, but I don't vacation with them. So that means that at all times you're going to have one of the partners on ground at all times. So a lot of agents, when they go on vacation, and come on, a lot of the times when they take listings, they go on vacations, right? And they're not going to be there to protect you and serve you. So I mean, if you want someone that's going to be communicating with you at all times, and that's going to be here in case that something comes up, well, then our team is the right pick. By the way, who else are you thinking about interviewing? Out of pure curiosity, I might know them. And then some of them will tell you, and other ones will be like, well, I just don't feel comfortable disclosing that information. It's like, why?
I'm assuming you take that as a big red flag that they don't have anybody lined up, and it's really what it is it's an I want to think about it objection, right?
Right. But I want to think about it objection purely is that what they're saying to you is that you haven't brought enough value to them to move forward. So you have not done your job. If they want to think about it, they're not comfortable with you yet. So keep asking questions, plop down on the couch, don't budge from the kitchen counter, just ask questions. So what else can I answer for you? And just be ready to
it might be,
talk to these people.
And there's an element of there that where it's an element of trust. And so you can also try to expose that too, which is, is there any part of the process that makes you uncomfortable? Like what stops you from moving forward? Some variation of that. And you won't always get an honest answer. Sometimes you'll have to dig another 2 or 3 below, but have you had a bad real estate experience in the past? That's a good question. And from my perspective, like when I come up with when a new client comes into me, I'm asking them variations of the same questions, right? Like, have you worked with a professional service provider? Have you worked with a marketing agency before? Well, what was your, tell me about the experience. And for a lot of people, it's no. Like if they come to me for podcasting and stuff, like this is the first real professional service that they've engaged with. They've bought software, they've employed people, but nothing in between. And so people have no idea what it's like to work with a professional service provider, and that's what a real estate agent is. It's what any type of consultant is. And so most people they don't have the experience. They may have had a negative experience in the past that you don't know about, that you're being lumped into that category, that you have no idea. I mean, there's a lot of things that might go into that. So it's not always that you just haven't brought enough value. It might just be that there's a trust issue that has nothing to do with you that might be holding them back, or there might be something like, Greg, what you said earlier with the team. Well, we feel like, we kind of feel like we might get passed off to somebody else. If you would have asked them a question that exposed that objection, you would have been able to remove that before you even walked out of the listing. It's hard to know sometimes when that's what it is, but the more questions you ask, the better.
Well, that's when it comes down to reading the client, reading the situation, watching the body language. What are their eyes doing? What are their hands doing? Are they leaning back, leaning forward? Are they engaged, not engaged? Are they checking their watch? You just ask them. Just ask them the different questions. And Howard is saying, it's a job interview. It's 100% a job interview, and you have to be strong enough. And I've done this, and so has Aaron has done this. Like if you say, because you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you, and you make that up, clear up front, and you say, hey guys, I'm so happy to be here. I'm blah blah blah. I'm really glad we're gonna have the opportunity to meet. As we go through this, I want to make sure that I'm going to be the right agent for you, and you're going to be the right client for us. So I'm really looking forward to meeting you. And they're like, huh? What do you mean I'm the one that's being interviewed? Because that's putting them in check a little bit.
You have to know internally, in order to pull that off authentically, you have to know who you want to work with. Like you have to define for yourself, even if you never tell anybody in your marketing, which I think you should. But let's say you never put it out there in the public, even if that knowledge just lives up in your head and your heart of, here is the person that I work with, because I know that I can take that person from A to B, that I can get them the result that they want, because that's the type of client that works best with me, and I know that I can get them X results. Even if you just know that internally, it comes across in your body language, it comes across in your tone of voice, it comes across in the language that you use, and it solves a lot of problems. You don't even have to tell them necessarily up front you're interviewing them. It should come across subconsciously.
You have to be willing to walk away from that listing. willing to walk away from it.
100%.
Because you only have your time and knowledge, guys. And if they're going to be a time waster and a time suck, then you cannot be around them, because they will drain you mentally, emotionally, and physically. I mean, they will suck the lifeblood out of you, and you're going to walk away going, why did I pick this industry? I'm an absolute idiot. When you could go work with someone who's really fun and nice and cool and accepting, and understand that you're doing everything you can, and they don't beat you up just for the small things. So be very selective on who you work with. It's like, Jason, you like the show, man. I'm cool, buddy. I'm glad you like it.
The show is legend. All right. So we've got a few minutes, guys. So whatever remaining questions you have, get them in as quickly as possible. We'll cover them before we wrap up the show. And then while we wait for a couple more questions, I'll mention the Rockstar Prospecting again. Mm-hmm. So 4-week live training course starts January 9th. It is $500. 4 live training sessions on Zoom for 10 to 40 people. And so that way you can interact with us directly. We're going to cover 4 areas. So number 1 is high tech, how online marketing makes every conversation easier. We're talking about high touch in the sense of like how to make 100 calls an hour, how to do circle prospecting. We're going to do the exact door knocking script. So Austin, that'll answer your question. And then there are specific recipes or formulas that we put together to combine high tech and high touch. We'll cover that in session 3. And then session 4, the insanity prospecting challenge. And this is something we've been working on for a while, and I can't wait for people to get exposed to this and get the challenge and get the details and all that stuff. That's session 4, so that you can actually take all of this stuff that you'll learn and apply it and start getting results. If we don't get you to take action, we haven't done our job. So the whole point of this is not just to give you a bunch of information. Like the podcast is for ideas and tactics and all this stuff. This is a training session, so you come out of it with after those 4 weeks with a plan to know exactly what you're going to do. So absolute clarity, focus, and a plan of action.
Yeah, I have the people I've taken through the Insanity program. I came up with this a number of years ago, and Matt and I've revamped it to current day. But the people who actually did this, and the reason I called it insanity is because I was going through the insanity workout right now, and that thing kicked my ass. So I'm like, this is the worst thing ever. So I'm gonna, but it was giving me results. I'm like, if people do this insane regimen, you will get results. And the people who did it got results almost immediately. It was scary how fast it worked for them. But a lot of the times the people just wouldn't work anymore, and they would stop doing it because it worked so well. So that is a part of it, guys. It is going to be a lot of fun. Besides, I love getting to know you guys, and I know Matt's wants to start getting to know you more and more. So as you guys sign up for this thing, we are ready to just knock it out of the park for you guys, and just kill it. So I look forward to it.
All right, guys. All right. So any final questions on client management or protecting your lead generation time? Put it in. And Greg, what are you so just give us an idea real quick of what your focus is on lead generation for yourself and your team coming into the new year.
Sorry, I just had a really loud noise outside my house. For 2017, what I'm really looking to do is we're going to dramatically step up the calls. We have Philip over at Talon. Again, PM me, guys, if you want me to get his information to you, or reach out to him, say you heard about us on a podcast here. Doing massive amounts of calls, and I want to get out and do a lot more door knocking and get back on the streets a little bit, maybe one day a week or something along those lines, and then perfect my videos and being able to become just a ninja at live videos. And if you guys haven't tried it, I've been doing Instagram lives, which I have found that they don't save onto your page, just so you know. But I'm holding like 13 viewers, which I'm baffled and honored. But I haven't quite figured out Instagram live yet and how the value's there, because you can't save it anywhere, not even for a short amount of time. But I'm going to do a lot of live video on Facebook, on multiple different subjects. And then I'm going to start doing Periscope for Twitter, just because, hey, why not? It's international marketing. So that's mine: calls, live video, and social media, and how to redistribute that content I do on live video. That's going to be my focus for 2017. What about you, Matt? Are you going to, Howard, okay, so let's talk about Snapchat super quickly.
Sure.
Arne, I'll give you my IG name. I don't even know what my IG name is. So Snapchat, guys, what you can do on Snapchat is that it's really a cool product. You can go over to not real estate. You can go to, Social Media Examiner. Gosh. And Michael Stelzner, who runs that group over there, he just did a video or an interview with a chocolatier out of Australia on yesterday or 2 days before. Yeah, it was on Monday, Matt. Oh no, it was on Wednesday. And they were talking about on their podcast what this guy does with Snapchat, he's created characters that he creates random, strange stories about, but he has fun. But you can take that information now. This just came out a little while ago. You can take your Snapchats, you can save them down to your timeline. Then you take that and you download it to your phone. Then you can upload it selectively to Instagram, which then that posts out onto Facebook. So I think that there's going to be a platform for all of them. I'm still just trying to figure out how to use them all. But I think it is something I need to take a look at more. Honestly, I just suck at it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is so we interviewed a guy who's, runs or helps run the like the Snap Pack real estate agent group on Facebook and all that stuff. And even he points out that he hasn't figured out how to use it as a lead generation tool for real estate for the general public. It is a way to connect with other realtors, which generates referrals. So we're kind of on the leading edge of Snapchat. So Snapchat is my opinion on it is that it's more about getting comfortable with the platform, just in case it all of a sudden becomes the next Facebook and it becomes a platform for connecting with your clients, potential clients, and leads. It's not there yet. So if anyone tells you that they're getting lead generation results from the general public out of Snapchat, please send them our way, because we want to interview them to see what they're doing. As of right now, no one I've heard of, or no one that he's heard of who's running that Facebook group that's all about Snapchat and real estate has perfected that. So anyway, I just put Greg's link for Instagram. It is McDaniel Callahan.real estate. The link is under here. And so Lawrence Beaudry says schedule, commitment, lead gen, prospect follow-up, trust the process, and happy holidays. That's his focus in 2017 to schedule, commitment, lead generation, prospect follow-up, and then trust that process. If you have that process in place, you absolutely should trust that process, because that will work.
100%. And the whole thing there is like schedule. Set down a schedule, guys, and live and die by that schedule. Matt and I were just talking before we came on air. Like, he and I are just toast. Like, we are ready for holiday season to kick in, because we just need a little bit of R&R. Like, we're still going to come out and hang out with you guys. We're not taking a break from that. But like, Matt canceled the rest of his day, and I canceled the rest of my day. So we showed up for you guys today. But you guys, schedule that stuff. If you need R&R, schedule it. If you want more time with lead gen, schedule it. Put it in, and don't deviate from it ever. It is your future business. End of story.
Yeah.
And follow me, guys. Yeah, follow me on Instagram. I would love to see you guys on there and interact with me. But I'll keep you guys up to date on how I'm doing there. But always follow me on Facebook, guys. Let me know. Follow me, because I'm done. I'm at 5,000 friends. So I hope to see you guys soon.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. It's super, super easy. It's Pursuing Results. Check out Rockstar Prospecting. That is the live training course that starts in January. Amy Broghammer, who is listening here on the show and commented, has her own course called How to Sell 100% of Your Listings. If you search for that is very easy to find, or message her on Facebook. She has some great content to share. Her episode of the podcast just hit iTunes from when we recorded that a few weeks back. We got we've got a lot of good stuff and a lot of great people coming on the show. So next week it'll mostly just be me and Greg. We're going to talk about what's going on in the new year, marketing, take some questions, all that good stuff, and then we're back with guests starting on January 4th. We've got Bethany Cummins, who's a local title rep here and a marketing expert in her own right. And then on the 6th of January, we've got Hank. The Tank is coming back on the show, Hank Avon.
Hey!
He's going to talk about how you can make an amazing life and do no more than 36 deals and just optimize from there. Limit the amount of time and raise your average sale price so you make as much as you want without working yourself to the bone, and spend all the time that you want with family. So that's going to be an amazing episode. That's Friday, January 6th. So we're a couple weeks out from that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome time. Michelle, thank you. Arne, Howard, Lawrence, God, everybody that's watching live, we really appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you guys. And,
Merry Christmas, guys. And also, guys, I put out into the link for the Rockstar Rockstar Prospecting. Woo, rough. Go download right here, guys. Get a copy of the scripts. Matt and I are going to be updating those. I'm not sure if we're going to do it today, but we're going to do it very, very soon. Because I'm running out of steam, to be honest with you. But anyways, I love you guys. I cannot wait to see you guys after the holidays. So Merry Christmas, and we will